Lego, you can't copyright that because literally all three of the movies are free to watch on YouTube, and the fourth one will also be free soon. Okay, yeah, this is kind of, I don't know, a lot of stuff happened in the past couple weeks that just made me want to make this video as suggested by the title, where it's literally just I ramble about Bionicle projects. It started out with like me watching a Germa stream, and he played Bionicle Heroes and he's like, I fucking love this game. Like, I'm just like, this unironically like made my day that psycho streamer sus guy played childhood game of mine and loved it.
This game is actually really good.
Some other stuff kind of came up too, where like been getting into not only just Bionicle, but like kind of combining that with my spirituality with ancient Egyptian stuff. And I'm just like, what if Bionicle was set in ancient Egypt? I mean, the themes are kind of the same. You got like, I could go on about that, but I'm here to ramble, rant about, I guess, sort of my experience making Bionicle projects, being on Bionicle projects, and how I guess I kind of want to work on them even more somehow. I don't know how, but somehow. So we'll just start with my experience first of just making my own shit. This is probably the 5th YouTube channel I've ever made in my entire life, and all the other ones are deleted for reasons that I can only attribute to just me being a dumbass teenager. And I was like trying last night so hard to be like, find deleted YouTube channels, and I like couldn't find it. I like used the Wayback Machine for like 2010, 11, 12, 13, and then I'm like, when did I make this channel? Ham and Cheese Studios was made in 2014, and it originally started out as Solar Polarics, and I could get into that. But the point is, like, my first video on this channel isn't technically my first video, and I don't even remember what my first video was. All I remember is that the YouTube channels I had were like Tear of Iron 87, Mercury Ghost 319 or 819, and I just remember like I was trying to get in with like the whole biotube scene where it was just a bunch of YouTubers making Bionicle content and whatever. So like Kyler Nuva 135, Scott JT or whatever, Biorock Dude, etc. And like, I wanted to be just like those guys, and so I started making my own shit. But then again, idiot teenager, and I'm like, I don't know how to make my own stuff, so I'm just gonna rip off other people's stuff. I don't do that anymore, and I don't intend to, but I'm just sad that I like could never find those deleted things. It would be super embarrassing, and I would be like, oh my god, I hate this. Why was I like this? Like, why did I make this stuff? But I had fun. I had fun just like making my Bionicle characters or mock and putting them either in funny scenarios or even trying to like tell a story. And Bionicle was unironically one of my first introductions, if not the first introduction to like storytelling and like world building. Because it's like at first, or on the surface level, it's just like, oh, it's just like 6 different colored robots that fight evil, but it's so much deeper than that, and it's just amazing. I was inspired a lot. I loved going to the video store and renting the Bionicle movies. I ordered like Bionicle Heroes 3 times for the PlayStation 2. My first computer game that I ever played was probably the Motonui online game, and that was fun. Played that again a couple years ago, I think, or a few years ago. And I'm like, oh my god, this game is much more than I thought. It's not just click here to win or whatever. So yeah, Bionicle has definitely influenced me as a storyteller and a filmmaker, but mainly a storyteller. And it just makes me sad that I like just deleted all that stuff. Because even if it was just a time capsule of how stupid and immature I was as a teenager, it still would have been memories nonetheless. So I think I remember trying to like make some sort of story where like a team of Toa crash landed somewhere in like this spaceship and had to do something, but I forgot. And then also that was around the time where like everybody was making Rockshi mocks and whatever, trying to be like Biorock Dude and whatever, and just, I'm glad to know that the only thing that hasn't changed is that people still want to fuck Bionicles. I'm like, why, dude? They're toys. Jesus. Relax. Go to horny jail, but unironically, unironically, unbionically, I don't know. But yeah, I just wish I could go back in time and be like, this shit sucks, but we're gonna keep it so you can look back and be like, oh my god, I came so far, or whatever. But yeah, that's sort of my experience with making Bionicle content. I haven't really done anything since, and I think the only evidence I have of like doing stop motion stuff was like some Lego Power Miners stop motion thing that I tried to make back when Lego was like, oh yeah, download the soundtrack to our commercials. And I'm like, great, thanks. But yeah. And the other funny thing too is just like, it also taught me how to use editing programs, like making Bionicle content. Like I still have Windows Movie Maker installed on my computer. That's the shit that I used to make those Zom Katako things. I might try to get back into that, I don't know. But like that taught me a lot about editing and putting on text and whatnot. It's also hilarious because there's so many BioTube videos that use copyrighted music from not just the Bionicle commercials, but just rock songs from that time period of the early thousands, mid thousands. And it's just so funny because back then you wouldn't have seen anything like, oh, copyright claim. Like, no. But now you go back and it's like, these videos are muted and whatnot. And unironically, that's the first I learned about copyright stuff. I think I did make a little episode for my own story, used music, and then I uploaded it. And YouTube's like, again, dumbass teenager, and it's like, oh, it's muted because copyright claim, and I'm like, what is that? And I would just like get so upset, and then I think that just like deterred me from continuing to work on it. But yeah, so much funny shit, and I just wish I could go back and collect evidence that like, yeah, I was an idiot child, but I was making stuff. So yeah, even if it is stupid or silly, keep the remnants that you have of making stuff. Keep the remnants of your hobbies and whatnot. At least, I don't know. It's kind of easy to say that now because I don't know. Just don't delete your shit. You never know. I don't know. So, and that kind of leads me into my next section of working on Bionicle projects, on other Bionicle projects, like being in teams and whatnot, kind of. And just, and it's also kind of sad because another thing that inspired me to like make this video was I was looking through Tumblr and whatnot. Also, check out my Tumblr. But anyway, looking through Tumblr, and I like follow some Bionicle blogs, and then I come across a post about a guy who was working on a video game, a fan game of Bionicle, and it was just horrible. It was just horrible what the guy went through. He like worked his ass off for 2 years on like 3D modeling and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden like roles were switched and priorities were rearranged, and just the whole project was like, we care more about how the game looks rather than if it plays and whatnot. And the guy explained a little more on that, and it was just so disheartening, and it was sad, and it just like, it sucks that happened. And someone even made a comment where it's like, this game is gonna be the hunt down the Freeman of Bionicle, and that hurts because everyone, if you know that game, then you know how fucking horrendous that game is.
All right, Joe. Let's save your friends from spiders with vaginas.
And I hope that doesn't happen for this game, but I don't know. But it just definitely inspired me to be like, wow, this is why people need to like get better at team management skills and whatnot, and not just like rush into something and be like, we gotta get it done and whatever. From my experience, kind of the same thing. I think I've been in a couple Bionicle projects and whatnot. I have evidence of that also with my Bionicle acting reels or whatever.
Do you really believe your puny powers can threaten a member of the Order of Matanui?
I remember just like, it was kind of exciting. I didn't know how to model or program or do any of that shit. I was just like, I want to be a voice actor, and that's all I wanted to do. And then the group kind of started off well, but then it like split off into 2 projects. But then there was like this one guy that came in, turned out to be like a massive creep, and like started making people uncomfortable, and we had to kick him out. And then it just sort of spiraled out of control from there. And we were just trying to make like a game or something don't even think it was a game. I think it was literally just a short series, a short video series about 2001 or whatever. That's all we were trying to do, and it fizzled out. It never came to fruition, and a lot of bad shit happened. I did some dumb stuff too. I did a lot of dumb stuff. I want to kind of acknowledge that, but also be like, I've changed a lot since then. That was 5 years ago. So I may have done a lot of dumb shit, but I've learned a lot since then. And I'm also learning a lot now in fucking film school, which I'll get into it in its own video. But yeah, it's just like, you never stop learning when you're a part of these projects. It just sucks, man, because it's like, you have this passion for something that you've had since you were a child, and like when it dies in like 2010, and then there's something where it's like you can bring it back to life, sort of, you want to help with that, you want to add to that, but then again, idiot teenager, first time in college and whatever, a lot of other shit, and it was just wasn't meant to be. And you know what, that's okay. I'm grateful for the lessons that I learned. There's a lot of stuff that I learned that I will do, and a lot of stuff that I will not do in future projects. It was just sad. Like, oh my god, we're gonna work on this project, and then shit happens, people drama, all this other stuff, and then it dies immediately. I kept in close contact with some of the members after it fucked up, but now I haven't. And the names are escaping me right now, but like, if somehow someone stumbles across this and you recognize my voice or whatever from the project, I don't know, hi, whatever. But then, I'm sorry to be negative in this video, and then I was in a Bionicle community. I'm not going to say the name of the community, because, I don't know, I just don't feel like it. And it was good. It was good for a while, but then it kind of became toxic. And I know that word gets thrown out a lot, but it literally just felt like it went from, hell yeah, I'm passionate about Bionicle and I can share this passion with other people, we can talk about it and have fun. And then it went to like, you're at high school and you have nowhere to sit, so you sit with the edgy try-hard kids that talk a lot of shit and like fight with each other. And there's nowhere else to sit, so you just sit with them, and it's just like, this is sucks. This is sucks, yeah. And it was just negative and like really shitty, and then there were like these rules of like, don't be a dick, even if it's ironic, and then people were dicks anyway, and it was fine. And then like, there was a post or something where it's like, it was basically, and I'm gonna butcher it, I'm sorry, but this is just how I'm remembering it. Don't be a dick, but also grow a pair or whatever, like just grow up. And it's just like, dude, this is a fucking fan group for a fucking toy. A fucking toy. And like, that's the thing that always gets me, man, is just like, all these communities centered around like stuff from people's childhood is either super nice and welcoming and creative and full of creative people, intelligent people, or the cesspit of every social media site you've ever been on. And I started off with that, but then it quickly like divulged into that. And it was so draining, and I'm glad that I left when I did. And that was also 5 years ago. I made a few friends. I think I'm only in contact with like one guy. He's pretty cool. But other than that, it's just like, this group sucks. This makes me not want to fucking like Bionicle anymore. Which is where I learned the lesson, and this included other communities I was in that were about passions that I had, like Star Wars, cartoons, whatever. Is just like, you can enjoy a thing and not associate with the fandom and whatnot. And that was, I'm glad for that lesson. Which kind of leads me into my next thing, I guess. I don't know. Kind of. We're going to do a little intermission where I talk about, I'm literally going to just make a video called, oh, by computer, where it's just like all my Bionicle mocks, but it's in the style of a BioTube video from 2009 or something. I don't even think I was on YouTube or made my own account in 2009, but it's going to be that. And it was just, last night I went back into that group that I had left, and oh my god, I felt so uncomfortable, dude. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna go in and salvage what I can, salvage everything I posted, and then I never have to go back ever again, and that's fine. And I did that, and I was just like scrolling through and just looking for my stuff, opening them up, saving pictures, saving one video that I posted about how Sirak's a cuck, because haha funny. But it was so funny because it was both extremely uncomfortable because of all the negative memories it brought back, but also uncomfortable because it's like, oh my god, I was also literally cringe and stupid, but I just got my shit out, and then I'm like, okay, great, that's all I could find. I'm gonna leave and never come back to this dog shit community ever again. Sorry to be negative, but I think it would be naive to just pretend that every community is just sunshine and rainbows. Like, no. Every community is going to have its bad seeds and whatever. But every community can also have its good seeds and whatnot. And that is one thing that I do have to admire about the Bionicle community, what I'm proud of, I don't know, is just people want to keep either telling this story or tell their own stories using the universe. And that's pretty awesome. And even the art too. There's so much cool Bionicle art out there and whatnot. And just, I wish I could find more people like that compared to people who are like, here's my Toa Galley revamp with big ass tits, but also I hate women and minorities. Like, that's just the shit I ran into in that community. And it's just like, don't be a dick, but even if it's ironic, even though, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I salvaged all that. Expect a 2010 BioTube shit post that's gonna unlock a lot of core memories. I'm probably not gonna use any copyrighted music though. That's gonna be the only thing. Cause yeah, not worth it for the joke. I don't know. Which leads me into making or being part of projects in the future. I wouldn't mind being a voice actor or something, or like writing my own story. I mean, I kind of already am, but I don't really see myself collaborating with anybody anytime soon because I literally don't know anybody. But I would be open to being a voice actor again in a Bionicle project or something. Even if it's just like a dub of a comic, I wouldn't mind doing that. I'm just gonna go with a forewarning and say, probably not gonna do any of that until I graduate college. Honestly, gonna be super fucking busy with a bunch of other shit, but it would be fun after I get settled into another place. I can just like do voices for Bionicle projects just for fun and whatever, just as a little side thing or whatever. It would have to be something that's like actually being made and that's actually going to be finished, which is, it's easier said than done, but it's so sad seeing all these like fan projects and whatnot, and like the last update was in 2019 or something, and it's like, no, that was so cool. Yeah, that's the only boundary that I would have to set, is just like, this is actually going to be made and there's actually thought being put into it. Like, yes, shit happens, but it's also like, we're gonna do our best to finish this thing and make this thing, and not just like, oh, we got bored and burnt out, so we're never gonna work on it again. I would just hate for something like what happened 5 years ago to happen again, where it's like, I'm really passionate, I'm really excited to be on this project, I can't wait to bring these characters to life and whatever, and then it's like, we're not gonna make it anymore, or here's some shitty people that like literally ruin everything, or people don't know how to fucking communicate and organize shit, so that died. I would like to be hopeful and optimistic that I can just be like, hey, if you guys need a voice actor or anything, or I can like proofread scripts or something like that and suggest ideas, I don't know, then yeah, I would be down for that. Again, even if it's just like a silly comic dub or anything, because I do love voice acting, I do love doing that stuff. I might sell out and just like turn that voice acting demo reel into like a short to appease the YouTube algorithm or whatever. It's a very wistful feeling of like enjoying Bionicle from when it was around 2001 to 2010, and then trying to salvage it by making your own shit after 2010. And then you find these communities and it's like, oh, hell yeah, we can share this passion. And then some of those communities suck, some of them don't. But then getting into projects, it's like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of this. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And I guess that just applies to all things in general with life, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind being a part of something like that again if it was a positive experience and not just like I hop in and everyone's a toxic asshole who doesn't know shit about not only creating stuff but also working together as a team. Maybe this is just another thing where I'm just hyper fixating on it because autism, and maybe I'll just switch out of it again to something else. But I think for the time being, I'm gonna ride this nostalgia wave, and I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys, just to be like, hey, yeah, I don't know, here's my history with it or whatever, and just wanted to share my passion, but also share my experiences, because hopefully someone's went through something similar, and that to know that you're not alone, and that it's also kind of okay to, like, I guess, make mistakes when you're like young and whatever, as long as you're willing to grow and learn from them and become a better person instead of just like staying stagnant. Like, I'm really proud of how far I've come as a person from being this like idiot teenager who like is so goddamn reactionary and whatnot, being unhinged with everything, to like, I want to be able to control when I'm unhinged or something, or just being like, is this worth my time and energy to be a part of? Are these people worth getting upset at? Or is this a situation that I can just leave? It's sort of a thing where you get your ducks in a row. I don't know. But at the same time, I would like to be like, oh, you need a voice actor for Nuparu in your 2006 fan animation? Sure, whatever. You need someone to voice Samakuta in your little comic thing? Sure, whatever. I don't care. Just like talk to me about it or something. I don't know. Although a lot has changed, I bet, in terms of the whole biotube community. I don't think people are making their own original stop motion series with their own original characters. I think everyone's just like trying to remake the other stories of Bionicle, which is fine, I guess, but I would just like to pitch my idea for a Bionicle something or other, maybe a video game. You see all these projects where it's like, oh, Bionicle, and it's like 4K, and it's made in Blender, and everything's like super beautiful and gorgeous, and I'm like, that's neat, but what if, hear me out, you got all these indie horror games that are like PlayStation 1, 2 styled, you got the haunted PS1 or whatever, what if that was done with Bionicle? That could be cool. Maybe not a horror game, but just something where it's just like a Bionicle game that's literally in the style of a PlayStation 2 video game or a PlayStation 1 video game. I would play that just as much as I would play, if not more than, something that's like super high quality and everything's realistic and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, they're plastic toys. I don't know. Or even something that looks like the commercials. I would play or watch something that was done in the style of those commercials, because that was pretty iconic for Bionicle as a franchise. But yeah, I think it'd be cool. Just have like a little PS1 style Bionicle game, or just a short little video in the style of the commercials. And of course, like, teamwork is important. Making people feel comfortable is important. All that is way more important than how the thing looks. And if it's video games, how it plays is more important than how it looks. I don't fucking care if you have highly rendered cutscenes of the Toa finding a mask or whatever. I don't care about that. If the gameplay is cyberpunk with tank controls, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna play that. I'm gonna go play Madanui online games. Like, even if it was just a stupid fucking game that was like Bionicle Heroes where you just run around and shoot shit, I would play that. I don't know. I hope some more projects come along where how it plays or whatever, or how the story is told, and how the storytelling elements are more important than like how it looks and whatnot. Because, like, again, as a kid, watching all those stop motion series where it was probably just some teenager with their mom's camera or whatever, taking pictures. Some of them look good, some of them look like shit. But then you'd put that in Windows Movie Maker and you'd add your text and you'd tell your story. I would be enthralled by that shit. And I'd be like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. I don't remember anything about it now, but I was just so enthralled. I honestly would love to do something like that, but like in Blender with actual environments. There's so many ideas that I have, but I'm gonna cut myself off and just share one last idea of just, hey Lego, what if you just did a stop motion style Bionicle movie just for the hell of it? No context, just drop the movie and be like, yeah, Bionicle's back, kind of. Oh yeah, that reminds me of another good point that I saw on Tumblr regarding Bionicle. It's like, bro, Lego ain't gonna bring Bionicle back because Bionicle came around. Lego was literally going bankrupt and Bionicle saved their ass. But nowadays, I hate to sound like that guy, but it's literally all about Star Wars and Marvel. So I don't think Lego is gonna go bankrupt anytime soon unless Disney is like, yeah, sorry, we're switching to Mega Bloks. And you know what, that's okay. Because I'm thankful that Lego's even doing like, oh hey, get this exclusive Tahu Takua thing. Like that is cool. That's better than nothing. It's nice that they acknowledge the impact that Bionicle had on not only their company but the world. And you know what? I'm content with that. I'm happy with that. I think we need to focus less on just like, we need to bring Bionicle back and like, not just like retell the stories it's already told, but just continue to tell our own stories. Whether that's just like an edgy team of Toa having to fight darkness, or like a bunch of funny Matoran having adventures, aka Matoran Adventures.
Okay, Toa. What the heck does that mean?
I don't know. I might get into a thing where I try to make more Bionicle content just for stories, but I just figured I'd share my thoughts on all that stuff. I could go on for hours about Bionicle, what it means to me, my history with it, all that shit, but I'm gonna shut up now and go drink. But yeah, I just figured I'd share that with you guys. Just wanted to ramble on about this. I'd love to hear what your guys' history was with Bionicle, or if you've ever made anything that's been lost to time because you deleted it or whatever. And yeah, and then I'm probably gonna make that video where it's just like, hey, remember BioTube? I don't know, whatever. Again, ranting, rambling, gonna end the vlog. But yeah, thanks again for listening to me, guys. Remember to be awesome and stay awesome. And if you want to go on a trip down memory lane, pull up a Bionicle movie, go find the Bionicle comics, have a binge read through Biosector 01 or whatever wiki you use, and just get in touch with your inner child and just enjoy that thing again. So, yeah. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Now it's time for you to make new legends, for that is the way of the Bionicle. Who would bring light to the shadows and awaken Matanui?
I'm the sus guy.